Welcome back, everybody, to Aiden's World of Sports. This is the best podcast on YouTube, or it's going to be in a couple of years. Today, I got a new guest for you guys. I'm interviewing my man, Isaiah Manning. Take a second to talk about yourself and talk about what you do.
So I'm a 2023 basketball prospect. I go to Mansfield Legacy High School, and I'm a forward. And yeah,
Yeah, so as you say, you're a forward, 6'7", four-star recruit, and you hold 8 offers right now. And some of those offers you have Jackson State University, you have Texas A&M, Oklahoma State, TCU, some big name schools. A lot of schools you may hear more for football, but there are really good basketball programs. Talk about what so far in some of those programs has stood out to you, and what schools are you really leaning towards right now?
so for sure. So I think in terms of the schools that I talk to, one thing that stands out to me a lot is just facilities. So I really like good facilities that there's a lot of like good practice regimens, good schedules. They have their own gyms for basketball and stuff like that. So I think of the visits that I've been on, all of those TCU, Oklahoma State, A&M, Rice, even all of those visits are really great because they're able to showcase what they have facilities wise. But I think what stood out to me most out of all of those was Texas A&M's practice facilities. They're just like great. They got the best courts, weight rooms, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's for sure important because, although some of these schools might prioritize more money or put a bigger budget into other sports that they might be more prestigious at. So it's important. That's a great thing. And so you're speaking Texas A&M. Is that school at the top of your list right now? Is that really where you're looking to commit right now?
So no, I'm not nearing a commitment at all, or even like a top five. I'm still a junior right now, but Texas A&M looks good. I like TCU, I like Rice, I like St. Louis. So right now, it's just about staying open to options. Obviously, continuing to talk to coaches, develop a lot of relationships. UTA is just down the street, so it's really just about what do I feel like I want to do nearing the start of my senior year, and then that'll be more into my decision.
So you're talking about down the street and these schools that are close to you. You're a Texas kid and you have a bunch of Texas schools offering you. How important is it to you to stay close to home, or do you think you want to venture out and if you potentially get another Gonzaga or one of those offers, what are you thinking right now?
So, I mean, I think it's really just it's about feeling it out for me because like I said, UTA, TCU right down the street, I really like those and my family's close by. But then like I've been talking to Stanford and Arizona State a lot recently. Like I really like those, West Coast type of vibe schools. So I think really it's just gonna be more when I get into my senior year. I like to take some official visits to some faraway schools so I can kind of get a feel of what it's like being out there. But then once I try, that'll kind of help me decide whether I want to stay close to home or get far away.
Yeah. And so that's important for sure. And one thing I want to talk to you about is what you look at colleges and you're thinking of prestige of the conference. Is there a dream conference that you want to play in that you have an offer from now, or even that you don't have something with an offer from now? Where do you really see yourself fitting in, and where do you want to play?
So that's a really good question. I've pretty much since I was like 7 or 8 years old, once I started to realize that I wanted to play basketball, I've liked the Pac-12. It's like as a kid, I lived in Nevada, so I watched UCLA, I watched Stanford, I watched, USC, Arizona State, Arizona, Oregon, all them. And so I just really like this type of style of play. It's very fast. And so, obviously I'm still open to schools from other conferences, but, I talk to a lot of schools in that conference, but I haven't been offered by them. And so I feel like taking a step in that direction could be good for me.
Yeah, and that's one of the top conferences in league. You got like you said, the UCLA's, the Oregons, and those are really top schools in the nation right now. So that's something that you look for sure. And with the prestige of the conference goes along with how well the coach goes, because some of these schools it might be the roster that's doing it more than the coaches. So what have you seen so far from a specific coach that you like more than anything else? Have you talked to anyone that stood out for you above everyone else?
So definitely, I think my favorite coach speaking to was Mike Boynton at Oklahoma State. So I went on my unofficial visit there, and they actually offered me while I was on the visit. And so I think it was just great talking to Coach Boynton. A lot of the insight he gave me, he seems like he really cares about the development of the young men that are in his program. And so I really like that. And, he cares about the guys there. It's a very like family vibe. And then one of my high school teammates, Keon, he just committed to Oklahoma State. And so kind of like the brotherhood aspect of that was just really good that he touched on it. And so I like talking to him a lot.
Yeah, and that's important, guys in your locker room committing. So you just mentioned that. How do you feel that you are with your teammates off the field, what do you classify yourself as? Do you see yourself as more of a leader, or do you see yourself as just like a team player and letting other guys do the leading for you?
So I've definitely had to step into more of a leadership role this year. As a sophomore, I was one of the better players in the team, but being a younger guy, I was only 15 last year. So, more of the seniors took a role. But I think now that I was a junior, I've really stepped into a leadership role this year. And so not just while playing, but even just like off the court with the guys, whether it was getting everyone together, I drive a big GMC van. So I had like 8 guys packed up in there and we'll go get food and stuff. But I think it was just good to try to keep everyone connected this year.
Yeah, that's something that you develop with, and you develop with those guys and you help those guys. So have you thought a lot about maybe committing with your teammate to Oklahoma State? Has that been something that's been on your mind recently?
So that's definitely been a thing that I've thought about. But then, through AAU and camps and a lot of stuff, I've developed a lot of relationships, like friends with other guys in my class. It's like I've talked to, you probably know RJ Jones about going to school with him, Garrick Norman, Cam Barnes, a bunch of 2023 kids from around here. I've talked to them. And so, I feel like any school that I'm considering, there's somebody else that's maybe considering it. And so it's definitely going to weigh in a little bit when it comes time to make a decision.
Yeah, I get that for sure. So now we talked a little about yourself off the court. Now let's go on the court. From what I've seen, you're 6'7" power forward, but you can really do it all. You can shoot the ball. You're athletic. You're a good defender. Who do you compare yourself to? And I guess I'd say in the forward range of the NBA or college ball, who do you compare your game to, or who do you model your game after?
So, okay, that's a good question. I think so. I like to model myself after Paul George, just in terms of like, he's a 3-4 man, but he's very versatile, like you said. So he can set ball screens, come off ball screens, he rebounds, he defends, gets downhill, shoots the ball. So a lot of those type of things. I've been working primarily on my handle because I feel like my 3 ball, my defense right now are, at a college level. And so in order for me to expand from just being a traditional 3-and-D guy, I'm working that in. But I feel like right now that's really more of how I fit in on the college team.
Yeah, I mean that's something that once you get to college and you're getting pushed by other guys who have had more experience in that level, your game will definitely grow in other aspects. So that's awesome. And Paul George, great comparison from what I've seen of your game and what I've seen of his game for sure. There's some resemblance, especially with the defense and the ability to shoot the lights out of the ball from 3. So yeah, I definitely see a little bit of him and you and him. It goes both ways for sure. So now, one main question I wanted to ask you was, do you have a goal for yourself in this last year of high school? Do you have a goal for whether it's, obviously win a state championship or win your state championship? Do you have a goal in terms of, you know, average or what's a small goal that you could talk about that could build up to that big goal?
So yeah, so I mean, in terms of my first 3 years, we lost every year that I've been in high school. We lost in the 3rd round, and so I think a big goal for me, we're going to move into 6A next year, and so I want to be able to try to make it to the 4th round in our 6A district, and then I think that that's just the biggest team goal that I can have, and I feel like in order for that to happen, I think I need to get a double a game and at least 18 to 20 points, and so I think if I can get that number average as a goal, as a small goal, that'll help us to be more successful as a team to get that whole overall goal.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand the team goals come first. Always, it's a team sport. So that's awesome that you're thinking about that in the back of your head. And I know some people always I hear when what's your goal? It's win a championship. But I like the answer where you definitely your team can win a championship. Any team can if they piece it together. But I like that you have some sort of like, I don't want to say realism because anything is possible, but I think when I say like realistic, like, I want to move one step further and you take it one step at a time. That's awesome mindset. That's an awesome mindset to have. So now I covered a lot of the, like, I guess, serious stuff. I want to talk a little bit of fun stuff. Now, let's say you have the opportunity to get drafted. You're in, you're in the room right there. You go however many years in college. Is there one team in specific that you want to draft you more than the others?
Okay, so this is a funny question because me as a kid, I grew up in Ohio, so I was a big Cavs fan. And so when LeBron was on the Cavs and they were playing against the Warriors every year, I hated the Warriors. But in terms of just play style and how they play and the way it flows, I feel like that system would fit me best in the NBA. And so if I had to pick a team, it would probably be Golden State.
So I love Golden State. I'm from New York. I'm a Knicks fan, but my second favorite team is Golden State. And I told you I wanted to have someone else guest on here. And for those of you watching, that's my friend Science, and he is a huge Steph Curry fan, the biggest Steph Curry fan you will ever meet. Warrior, like insane Warriors fan. He would love that answer. He's gonna see this tomorrow. He's gonna be like, get me in touch with this guy for sure. He's gonna so I I like that answer for sure. But yeah, I mean that's a really good system to play in for 3 and D Ford. It's kind of like Draymond Green for sure. Have you talked to any like NBA players, coaches, or G League players and gotten advice from them? And what's like if you have, what's that been like?
Okay, so last year I played for Drive Nation's EYBL team. So Jermaine O'Neal, obviously, he's the like executive of that organization. So he's definitely been one of the biggest role models that I've had. He's told me a lot of stuff in terms of like what it takes, analytics, all type of things to get into the NBA, that next level that we obviously want to get to. So, for me, I just focus on one step at a time, like we talked about. So right now it's about junior year, then it's going to be AAU, senior year, then college. But, the ultimate goal is to play in the NBA. And so I've talked to him. I've talked to Trae Young as well. So some guys like that have definitely been able to show me some sort of like insight and stuff, but just like what it takes. And so that was definitely big for me.
What was that conversation like with Trae Young? He's one of the best guards and one of the best point guards in the NBA right now. What was that like? What did you guys talk about, and how did that leave you feeling?
So I went to a Hawks game with some of my friends, Jacoby and Cam, the guys talked about earlier. And he just talked to all of us about just like, staying true to the grind and not trying to get too ahead of ourselves. And so it's just like, as a high school kid, the goal of making the NBA might seem like it's such a big, untouchable thing. But if you just take it one step at a time and accomplish the smaller goals you need to do, then it can become more tangible and real.
I like that. That's something that I've heard. I've seen videos of Trae Young at camps talking to people like that. So yeah, that's really important, and that's awesome that you got that moment with him, because that's something that you could stick with and you could keep thinking about in the back of your head, like, yeah, I'm gonna be at his level one day. So that's awesome for sure. So now I got like my last two questions, and then if you want, we could talk about NBA and college ball and just like or like have a fun like talking session, debate session. But one question is, you have a big game, you're with the team in the locker room, and you got a speaker, and they give you choice one song. You're
Okay.
hyping up the team. What song are you playing, or what artist are you playing? It doesn't matter, whatever you want.
So it's definitely going to be either Gunna song or 21 Savage. Those are my two favorite rappers. But I think just right now, because Gunna just dropped his album, I'll probably have to play Pushin P out of all songs, because, that's just like the most hyped up song. Everybody knows the words. And so that one kind of gets everyone going. But I like Knife Talk by 21 Savage. That's a good one. Or not by 21 Savage, but he was on it. That one was good. So I just feel like really any of 21 Savage songs could all do that same thing. But for Gunna specifically, I feel like Pushin P would be the best song.
That's a good answer. I have not heard Gunna. I heard 21 Savage a couple of times. I heard a lot of Kodak, a lot of Young Boy, but I like that answer for sure. And now on to my next, really, like, this is like I'm asking everyone these two questions. You win a big game, you and the boys are going to celebrate after. They gave you the choice for what restaurant or what food you guys are going for. What's your call?
Okay, so I got to think about it, because I love the Cobb salad at Chick-fil-A, but that's more of like my pregame meal. So I would say after a game, my go-to is probably Chipotle. I really like Chipotle. Their bowls are good. I fill my bowl up with a whole bunch of stuff, so I'll probably pick that.
Oh, I love Chipotle. I love Chipotle. I miss it out where I don't got Chipotle where I'm at right now, but I like Chipotle. That's the answer I haven't heard. I heard a lot of B dubs. I heard Chick-fil-A twice. And then I got a Chicago baseball player who gave a Chicago joint, but he was all about hometown foods. But hey, I like Chipotle. I'm definitely a fan of that answer for sure. So now, those are all the questions I really had. I don't tend to take a lot of time up, but I know you want to talk a little bit NBA too. We could argue a little bit. So what's your look on right now? What do you think about the Sixers after the Harden trade? I want to ask you that actually.
Okay, so with me, this is a two-part thing, because I actually had to talk about this with my friend last week, but Harden he really plays alongside a lot of like role players, center guys that just like stand on the block and he'll just go, off pick and roll, throw him alley-oop or whatever. And so I didn't feel like he was going to be able to play along such a versatile big like Embiid. But after having watched a couple of games, they seem to be flowing really well off each other. And so I feel like, taking some attention off Embiid, taking the focus off him, they can actually be like a good contender for like an Eastern Conference championship, really is what I'm thinking.
So before the trade, I was going to say, yeah, if the Sixers can get Harden for something cheap and they don't have to give up a lot, I think that they could win the Eastern Conference. And I was saying that for months. No one believed me except for my one friend who also comes on. I have a basketball podcast with him. If you want to hop on that, actually, I'll get you on that too. We have a specific to basketball podcast where we talk NBA. And he's the only other person that I know that was saying the same thing as me. And now we're looking at it happening and everyone's like, oh, you guys are right. So I like that. I think that the only team that can stop them really is the Warriors. You think I'm wrong there?
So, all right, this might be a little bit partial, but, I'm a big Giannis fan. And I just feel like Giannis takes his matchups against any other forwards personally. And so I know that he's going to match up with Embiid himself. And so I think it'll come down to if Harden, takes him home that series, because I feel like when Giannis matching up with any forward, he's going to win that matchup.
Yeah, and you don't think the Nets can beat the Sixers in a series?
To be honest, I don't. Just because I don't think that their play style flows well off each other, and then it's going to be really interesting to see now that they got Simmons. I feel like KD and Kyrie already, those two ISO guys, they don't have the same type of flow to play with each other. And so then to add in Ben Simmons, who he's not an ISO guy, but he's a ball-dominant player, I just feel like there's going to be too many guys that need the ball to make plays, and they can't play off for somebody else. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying it's like a win-win trade for both sides, but Philly looking like they could have gotten the really good end of that deal. You never know. I got to see Ben Simmons play with the Nets. But now, so you gave us your winner on the East. You thinking the Bucks are going to win the East unless the Sixers can take them?
Honestly, yeah, I think I got the Bucks. I think I got the Bucks coming out the East.
So you got the Bucks in the East. Who do you got in the West?
Okay, so I'm a Lakers fan, so I want to say the Lakers, but just watching our games this year, I just don't see any of that happening. So, I mean, honestly, I don't see why the Warriors can't go back to the finals again. I know the Suns look really good right now. They're putting a lot of stuff together, and Chris Paul is a good leader for them. But I just feel like with the stuff that Steph is doing, and then the fact that they've got Clay back, it's going to be hard to stop the Warriors like it is any year. And so I just feel like with their chemistry and stuff, I could see them going to the finals. And to be honest, I could probably see them winning the finals, like we said earlier, if it ended up being against the Sixers.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul could be out for a while. You never know. I don't know I don't know how he really broke his thumb, but if he's out for more than just the regular season, I can't see the Suns making it past like the first or second round without him. So I definitely could see the Warriors making it out. I see the Nuggets as a sleeper, maybe making it out because Murray's coming back. Porter might come back. Jokic is Jokic. So you if it's Warriors Bucks, do you have the Bucks winning that?
So I think I got the Warriors winning it, to be honest. It's just too much versatility on their team. Like with the Bucks, like I said, I feel like Giannis is going to win every matchup. But I feel like with the Warriors' depth, they're going to win every other matchup. And so I don't think Giannis can do it by himself.
All right. I'm more than loving that answer. I picked the Warriors. I even told people to bet on the Warriors in October to win the finals. I got that on lock. I knew it was going to happen. They were coming out after last year. Now, Embiid or Jokic for MVP? Or do you have someone completely different?
So I think those two guys are at the top of the discussion. I mean, to be honest, at the beginning of the year, I really wanted DeMar DeRozan to have a chance at it because it was looking like he was in the run. But I feel like it probably is between those two just because they both haven't gotten it. Or no, I think
Jokic got it last year.
They get it. But I feel like that's going to be the reason. So I feel like Jokic might be having a little bit of a better year statistically, but just because Jokic already won it, with the NBA politics and stuff. So I just feel like Embiid's been like second or third on the list every year and getting it. And so I think he's going to get one similar to like, how Harden got his, just in terms of like, oh, it had been a while. And so we're going to give it to him now. I think that's what it's going to be for Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves the way he's playing. He deserves one. He's just been always second or third behind Bron and Jokic or Harden and Jokic. So hey, I like the answers. I mean, I picked Curry at the start of the season. I was so happy with that, and then he started slumping. I was like, all right, well, that pick's gone.
Yeah, but I think for me, the thing with Steph is that, he doesn't care at all about like any of that type of stuff, like MVPs, finals MVPs, whatever. He just wants to win. And so I feel like, I don't think I can see him as an MVP candidate, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and gets a finals MVP and the Warriors win it all.
Oh, for sure. I could definitely see that. Yeah. I mean, he was having an MVP type season and then started slumping. And, the Warriors are doing their thing. They're winning without him playing at 100% his best game. So, when he gets back to 100%, whenever that is, they're a scary team. And I could see them definitely winning it all for sure. So I got to have you on the basketball podcast with my two boys. They'd love to do this. They'd love to chop it up with you, but I'm not going to take up too much of your time now. So thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you. I'm definitely going to have you on again too, after your commitment, after your freshman season, whenever, but we're going to keep tabs on you for sure on the podcast. I know people are going to want to have you back on. So thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
For sure. I appreciate you for having me.
Of course, man. Anytime. Thank you.
All right.